So normally I don't include the first part where we do our breathing work, but I wanted to include it this time for people that are just going to watch the recording, because I think what's important is what we're starting to do now is not just breathing, we're doing the Om. Because remember last time I told you, when you do the Om, that vibrational frequency activates the the third eye, and that's what I want you to focus in on when you're doing the Om. That vibration in your head will activate your third eye. And I want us to see clearly, because when we see clearly, our whole vibrational frequency will change. Because what are we going to see? Nothing but the truth when you're opening your third eye. And when you see the truth, when you see things for what they really truly are, you're not going to be afraid, and you're not going to be in a place of negativity, because that's not part of the truth. That's part of the illusion and the fear. So let us get a little grounded, put our feet flat on the ground, and close our eyes. And we're going to take a deep breath. And when we do, we're going to envision all the light that is so powerful, beyond color, brilliance, that's going to come into us through the breath. And when we do the Om vibration, we're going to concentrate on that vibration opening, and you'll feel it, that vibration opening the third eye right here. So let's take a deep breath, bring in the light. Om. Another deep breath. Om. Third time, deep, deep breath. Om. Okay, I hope you felt a little vibration tingling right there in your third eye. I know I did. And another thing that I've been doing over the past week, I've been researching the power of sound and vibration. And when you go onto YouTube, which I know everyone here has the capacity to do, there are so many sound vibration meditations that are nothing but the sound. And they are so powerful. When you go to onto YouTube, do a search for Om sound vibration, or anything to do with Om meditation. There's tons of them, and pick whichever one you like the most. And what they will say, that they will talk about different frequencies that the Om is vibrating at. And did you know that your voice, the sound of your voice, everything in it has a sound vibration frequency? And so since I've been researching all about sound and vibration, it turns out that it is the most powerful healing, really, essence in the world. And when I wrote my book, here, I want to bring this up. I wrote this book, a really, gosh, I guess it was around 2005. I wrote this book, The Power Awaken to the power within you. And one of the things I felt like was so important that I was writing about was sound. And I said, here's what I wrote. It is actually sound that first began the creation of our physical universe. In Genesis, God said, "Let there be light." It was the sound of the spoken word that created the light and the universe. This is the power of sound or vibration. Sound is the powerful force that shatters wine glasses, sonic boom that shakes the earth, gunshot that sets off avalanches. And of course, we know doctors use sound to heal, as with ultrasound to heal and destroy tumors without even cutting the body. And sonograms give us the ability to see into the body. This is, I don't think we've harnessed uh, the vibrational frequency of sound. And here's the page from my book. I actually have it printed onto paper, though. I don't even have a copy because I never made this a hard copy book, because what I did was there's a picture on every page, and the picture is much like my picture book that we use for the symbols. Every page has a colorful picture on it. And of course, that would cost about $50 to for everyone to buy it. Here's one that I thought was a really cool picture. That all these pictures, though, I had to purchase because I was afraid somebody, you can't even see what that picture is, can you? Uh, it's a bottle with somebody putting a message in the bottle, and it's wash up to shore. And what I was writing about this is how we all feel supported through emotional validation. And the only way that that comes is through talking to other people, the need to be heard. And speech and sound is part of healing. And you got to know, all of us, we have certain favorite songs and we resonate to certain music. And it's like it's fun when you find somebody that likes the same music you like, because you feel this inner connection, because music actually changes the way we feel. Think about how powerful that is. Music changes the way we feel. It can take us from a bad place and a bad feeling to feeling pretty good when we hear our favorite old songs that we just love and we resonate to them. My old friend, the friend I talk about all the time that passed away in the 90s, she was probably one of my closest friends I ever had. And every time we would get down, which, we were in our 20s, I don't know how down we could really get, but, it was probably boyfriend problems. That's that's what it was like back then, right? But she always said, let's go listen to old Beatles songs. We'll feel good again. That's exactly what we did. So I know everyone's got their favorite old music that brings up a good feeling. When you're feeling down, listen to music. Sometimes one of the people I listen to, I don't know if any of y'all like Yanni. I think his songs were just gorgeous back in the 80s. I listened to him all the time. And my kids, they always have good memories, because when I was driving around, to shop, I always had Yanni on in the car, and they always listened to it. So I told my oldest son not that long ago, I said, if Yanni ever does another concert at the Acropolis in Greece, I want to go. He said, done. I'll take care of that for you, Mom. I'll buy you that if he ever does it again. I think he lives in Florida. I don't even know if y'all know who Yanni is. But what's funny is I told, Shri comes from, she grew up in the Middle East and from India. She doesn't have a clue as to all of our old songs that we used to listen to in the 70s and the 80s. Well, she does a little bit now because of me. But she said in India, when Yanni came to visit India, everyone had a day off of school to go listen to him. I thought that was so cool, because we can talk about Yanni. So anyway, music. Did you know that a lot of composers live well into their 90s? And I think it's all because they really are connected to vibration and sound. And, Nikola Tesla said, you know, of course, he said, if you understand the meanings behind the numbers 3, 6, and 9, you'll understand the workings of the universe. But another thing he said, which was probably the same thing as 3, 6, and 9, he says, the whole world is composed of energy, frequency, and vibration. And that really does originate from sound. Yes, you could say light is one of the factors, but did you know that light and sound are a vibration as well? And sound, they have seen that when they vibrate sound, it if they do it on a plate where there's sand, the sand will form these geometric symbols from the vibration of the sound. So I think it's so important for us to understand that we can actually change our vibrational frequency by working with sound. And so, you know, that's where a lot of mantra work comes in. And the problem with mantras, though, is a lot of people don't know how to pronounce it or how to make that sound. Not that I'm saying there's a problem with it, but it does have an effect because it's sound. I mean, that's essentially what we're doing with the sound. Because the sound, you know, anytime, you know, people would go into yoga and yoga classes, they'd use that symbol because that is the most powerful sound. They say that is the sound of the universe, that Om. So I want you guys to start using that Om in your meditations. You will find that you're going to start opening more and change your frequency. And maybe even the sound of your voice may even change because that's all part of who you are and your frequency. So another thing that is so vitally important that we've talked about, and I want to state it again, is our use of words and language. We've got to start eliminating negative words, you know, and we unconsciously use them all the time. Oh, that's terrible. Oh, that's horrible. Oh, that's bad. Let's be more cognizant of what we're saying, because the more we are uplifting in our wording and our language, the more we're going to change our vibrational frequency. And so use words like gratitude and joyful and happy, and come from feeling those feelings, because remember, it's not just what we think, it's what we feel that really changes frequency in ourselves, in our lives. And that's what we're here to do, especially in this class, because I'm here to ground everyone, to remind everyone, especially myself, you know, I'm with you guys. Uh, we all need these remembrances every week. So during this week, we're going to concentrate on sound, what we say, vibrationally, uplift it. And by using the Om and that vibrational frequency, I actually found one also that used Om along with those bowls that make that beautiful sound that feels like, you know, you're part of the universe. And that one, I really felt a vibrational pull right here. So I want you guys, because everyone's coming from a different vibration. That's exactly why we like the certain music we like, because of the vibrational frequency that we're at. And I guess I haven't grown too much since my 20s because I still like the Beatles old songs, but no, but there's something about, you know, I've noticed certain people like those real, you know, deep, you know, heavy duty vibrational sounds. And some people like, you know, the real light ones. And some people like the ones that I call bubble gum, which, you know, I'm like, oh my God, change the channel immediately back then. You know, like Jeremiah was a bullfrog kind of song, like get that off the radio. But some people love them, and it's all about their vibrational frequency as to what type of music that you enjoy. And I encourage you to listen to more music. It's like I say, all the composers that live well into their 90s, the conductors, and it's healing. to really connect to a sound vibration heals and takes away the negativity and the pain that maybe you're going through if you're going through a difficult time of loss. Listen to music and start working with sound vibration since it's so powerful. I mean, the great gurus would not have been talking about mantra all these years if they didn't have an effect. So essentially, when we do the Om, that's a mantra. It's just the most powerful mantra, I believe, of all that can open our mind, open our vision. And when we do that, we're going to change our vibration and become from a higher place that will not go into the dark places that we don't like being. And, you know, during the holiday season, we all need a little upliftment, not only for ourselves, because when you're uplifted, you help other people and their vibrational frequency. So that's pretty much the main message I want to deliver today. But another thing, oh, I forgot to turn my phone off. So sorry, guys, let me turn my phone off. And we won't have any of that anymore. Yeah, okay. All right, so my phone's off, and let me show you the pictures I pulled today. And I actually pulled 2 sets because one just told me it wasn't enough. So we're gonna look now. This picture is, I have to warn you, it's a little dark, and you're gonna have to help me with understanding it. Let me take it out of the sleeve. It's dark, and it's like my mother, when I first showed her this book, you know, 35 years ago when I made it, she says, "Why did you choose such negative pictures?" And I said, "Well, because I felt like every picture that I chose from the book represented a different life experience or a different something we go through at some point of in life. And all of life isn't joyful and happy and parties." And so this is a really dark picture, and here, let me show it to you. So what I'm seeing here looks like this is a casket, and this is somebody lying next to the casket. And if you look really closely, it looks like they're holding a stuffed animal. Am I right? But look at their face. It's damaged. And I believe they're alive, but they are next to a casket. So I don't know if that means they're almost dead, or maybe but I would think they'd cover their head if they were dead. But it looks like they've been carried off in a, you know, what do you call that, where they just put you on the stretchers, on a stretcher. And the face is really bloody. And so what does this mean? Does it mean, you know, like a near-death experience? That's what I'm kind of coming to. A near-death experience, or feeling almost dead. But let me show you which one's on the other side. So completely different energy. So it's very uplifting, but this is the one that's on the other side. And I remember I chose this picture mainly because if you'll notice here, the woman's looking at the guy's looking straight ahead, but the woman's looking to the guy, but they're following in unison in step. So they're moving forward. But the woman, it's almost like, if you want to take it male, female energy, the masculine is moving forward and has his eyes on the goal, you know, in the right direction. But it's the female energy that nurtures and cares to get there, if you want to look at it that way. Or you could look at it like relationships. The woman is really being the supportive one there. But they're both moving forward, and it's a very happy transition there from being half dead. So what do you think this message, the Book of Symbols, is trying to tell us for this week? This was the first one I came to. What do you Does anybody? I think it just means, through moving forward, through being supportive, being nurturing, we can really heal. Now somebody's there. Let me mute everyone so that we only hear who wants to speak. So I think it's like, we're in a place, this is what I think, where we feel dead. We feel depressed. We feel sadness. But through forward direction, we can heal, and we're going to come out of this and we're going to move forward, and it's going to be, notice this, how happy they are. Both of them are so joyful and happy. So it looks like we're coming out of a dark place and we're moving forward to something very, very positive. And that's what I get out of these two pictures. So do you want me to share the other two that came up? Maybe I should share them first before I ask for any other, what y'all think, because this is very meaningful as to what I'm talking about with sound and vibration. So here's the next one. I love this picture. I remember I felt like it was so meaningful when I found it in, who knows, this was 30 years ago I put together this book. But this is what I see in this picture. Notice the child with the snake around her neck, how everyone's happy and she's happy, and especially the older man that pretty much has the power to lift that off of her neck. I feel like the neck has everything to do with our speech, the sound vibration I'm talking about, what we say, how powerful affirmations and mantras and the sounds are, but most of all to speak our truth and joyfully, because everyone's looking on as she's having the snake removed from her throat area, which gives her the freedom to speak her truth. And that is so joyful. And I think it's really in alignment with the other two pictures that we just had. Now, let me show you what pictures on the back of that. I think this is a whole story, really and truly, about where we're going with this new year and what everything's about. Then I get butterflies. So many butterflies. And we all know what the symbology of butterflies is all about: transformation. So being on the back page of this, and also I just realized looking at that, the man has keeper on his jacket, keeper. But this picture, the reason why I chose it for the book 30 years ago, whenever I made this, it was that I felt like he is removing the blocked voice of this little girl to be able to speak her truth, what she's all about, and she's overjoyed by it. And so is everyone else. So the truth heals. And what does it do? It's going to transform our lives. So from this to this to this to this is what we're looking at, and what's going to be happening for us in this time period in our future. And I think that is so healing, transformation from being able to speak our truth and use our voice for the vibrational change, to change a vibration within us, and therefore help the planet change its vibrational frequency, one person at a time. So that's my message through what the higher spirit was projecting through my book. And if we all know this, I'm not telling anybody anything you don't already know, but we have to remember to use it. And we have to, I believe, use some tools such as the Om in our meditations. And when you think about it, just if there's people all around you, do the Om in your head silently, and close your eyes for a minute. You will feel this vibrate, even though you're imagining the Om sound. So this is, I mean, so thought-provoking, I believe. And I've been watching some really interesting, as a matter of fact, I'm going to share with you. I'm going to share my screen before we move on something, and then I'll allow you guys to talk about everything. So let me make sure I have the right thing up before I share my screen. Yeah, I don't have anything up. So let me see here. It was in YouTube that I was, oh, it's not even in there. Maybe, hold on one second. I'm going to go into my emails and find it, because I saved it and sent it to myself. I don't know if y'all ever do stuff like that. But sound. Okay. I call this The Answer is Sound.
Ready to start eating healthier? Meet Kachava.
Skip that.
Kachava is the
No matter.
Okay. All right. So I am going to share my screen. Let me get back here to share. And let me put this on full screen. And I just want to watch this for a minute. And afterwards, I'll give you the link to this video. But I think this really says it all.
How I look at how much research I do, I keep coming back to one guy that stands head and shoulders above all other researchers and inventors of, I don't know, for how many centuries. And that guy's name is Nikola Tesla. He says, if you want to find out the secrets of the universe, think in terms of energy, frequency, and vibration. That's exactly what I've been sharing with you here. Everything in creation spins and vibrates. Everything has its own prime resonance frequency. Everything. And this is why once we can identify a prime resonance frequency of a bacterium or an atom or whatever it is, or a soccer field, we can then manipulate that object with its prime resonance frequency. In Christianity, it's the word. In Hinduism, it's Om. The Egyptians believed the universe was sung into creation, and the original people of Australia, not the Aboriginal, so it's the original people of Australia believed that the world was created with 3 sacred songs. And then we have the phenomenal similarities between the 6 days of creation in Christianity and the word that created everything, the 6 aspects of Om, and the 6 aspects of the all-seeing eye of Horus, and you start seeing the connections between all these ancient cultures and the creation stories. Sound is the source of all creation. Sound and resonance is responsible for everything. By now, you should know that sound manifests physical form, and this is the most basic example. I just cannot get enough of it. I can watch it millions of times.
Okay, so you pretty much get the gist here, right? And here is the, if y'all want to watch the rest of it, I will, oops, let me get back to us. Oh, okay, stop share. Yeah, okay, so I will have that if you want to watch the rest of it. The only thing is in the rest of it, it has an ad in it that it almost looks like it's part of it. And it's about, I don't even know if it's, not about this, but it's some kind of mask that you put on at night and the frequencies are supposed to change, or I don't know if it's something they're just trying to sell or not, but one way or another, you got the gist of what I'm trying to point out about sound and the power of it. It's everything. We can change our frequency through working with sound. Isn't that cool? We don't have to wear a mask. We can do it ourselves. That's what we're supposed to do here. And I love that um, I love the idea of the Om, and I really have noticed a difference with opening up my third eye. So I want some feedback now, and I'm going to go over some stuff in the power, but I'm going to first, I want to get your feedback on what you felt like the message from the book was trying to tell us. Anything that I missed?
I had an idea. Um, it kind of came back to when you did the predictions this weekend with the world predictions, and you said, well, I see it as being really good next year, and some people say it's not going to be good. So I see that all the time, that each house and each planet, there's always the good aspect and the bad aspect. So it depends on which one you want to focus on. So when I saw the pictures, um, the the little girl with the snake, she looked really brave. So it's like, you know what could await you if you're really brave and you're willing to go out there and do the things and not be half dead like the coffin guy.
Yeah.
And you go and move forward like the happy people. So it's like you kind of have to be brave to pick that choice to go and move forward instead of just staying where you are, scared and like stuck in, in like restricted. So, and at the end, you could get the abundance of the butterflies. So it was more that being brave enough to choose which one you want to feel. And that emits a vibration when you choose which way you want to feel, because the situation doesn't create your vibration. You should just be able to create it out of no reason. You should just create the vibration that you want, instead of saying, well, I'm sad because of this thing, instead of saying, well, this thing happened to me, but I'm going to decide not to be sad. I'm going to decide to look at the silver lining. So we have to be brave to go past our trained mind and our conditioning to be able to get to the abundance, get to the fun stuff, and not be on the opposite end of the coffin picture.
Well, good point, because, when I think about Tesla saying the answers to the universe is 3, 6, and 9, I think about the houses in astrology. And right when you said, to be brave enough, what is courage? The third house, 3, and then 6 is the work that we do, and 9 is the spirituality. And I was also thinking, if you take 3, 6, 9, and 12, I'm always thinking astrologically, that because 12, I think, is the completion to the 3, 6, 9, then 12. That covers all of the elements, because the third house is relative to the air signs because it's Gemini. The 6th house is relative to the earth signs because it's Virgo. The 9th house is relative to the fire signs because it's Sagittarius. And then Pisces, being the 12th, is the water sign. So you have all 4 elements. I mean, I'm always thinking in these crazy terms, right? But I think I was trying to make it relative to what Tesla's talking about. And astrology always comes together for me in the truth and what everything's about. What were you going to say, though, Joan?
Oh, because you were just saying about the songs that we like, and I was going to write in the chat, and I thought, oh no, I won't. I was going to write Earth, Wind, and Fire because they're my favorite.
I love that too, by the way.
I mean, Earth, Wind, and Fire, and then water's the end. So it's not, doesn't get a part in the title. But I said, when you just said that, I said, that's the synchronicities have been off the charts for me lately in the last month. And I remember hearing Robert Grant talk about synchronicity. What does synchronicity mean? It means that your subconscious is talking to your conscious mind. Mm-hmm. So it's been crazy. I mean, there's just another one of them for me, the synchronicity part. That's really funny.
That's funny. I love that. Okay, now somebody else wants to add some. One thing I forgot to mention, though, before anyone else talks, is I believe in the very first picture, the child, it looked like a child was holding a stuffed animal. And I think when we hold on to dolls or stuffed animals or anything, it's a sense of security. So the insecurity, probably of the fear of dying and death too there, that's very scary. It's like, that's the pits, that's the worst, but we're able to transcend even that. But go ahead. Anyone else want to add anything?
I just wanted to say that when I saw the first picture, it reminded me of your video that you put out for the new moon and like what you were saying about destruction. And then like that's what like the coffin and death and then on the other side was like this couple that was so happy and it was like this clear like what you talked about like the clearing after the destruction. So like I just was like, okay, that's basically the new moon video you just put out like in those pictures.
True. I never even thought about that because, you know, the astrology is always in unison of what is going on, needless to say. And, you know, there's no accidents. Picking those pictures may seem crazy to some people, but no, they always speak to us. Always. There's a message. Yeah. So thank you. Thank
Yeah. And also like I mean we're ending this time of autumn, which is like the hardest time for a lot of people. It's a very like transitional phase and we're going into winter solstice, which like we're bringing the light back in too. And so I know people have been struggling with that.
Right, because you know, tomorrow's the winter solstice, which is the darkest, you know, darkest day. Well, actually, I think it's like, is it equal day and night? But no, I think no, we have less day and more darkness. That's the extreme, whereas the exact opposite of the summer solstice is we have more light than whatever. But you're right, that darkness. It does, but it shouldn't be scary. It should be, which it is to most people. It really is, because it's kind of depressing. You're indoors, it's gloomy, but it's a time to reflect and really go within. This is a time that has deep meaning for all of us to reflect and grow, to prepare for what? The new year. Yeah.
Yeah, and I was just realizing like, you know, the dark moon is actually on winter solstice, like, and then we get the new moon, and that's when the light comes back in. So it's like really interesting that nature and those patterns are like coming through.
Interesting. I never thought about that. So the darkest, the darkest time is also the darkest time with the moon being the new moon. That is a really amazing observation. I missed that. Thank you, Tori.
You're welcome.
Anyone else want to add anything?
I just want to add in. Hi, everybody. My take on all that actually, and because it was dark, it is what it is. I got this whole vision. It was all about human trafficking and child trafficking when I looked at that. Based especially on the victim of the death of the person's eyes. And that goes along with, it was the second image I've seen of that this week, and we know about synchronicity, right? Okay, I also know about a lot of the work that I am involved with. And on a good front, I know a lot of people actually who are behind the scenes who are getting that out of our world, thank God. And then I went to the second picture. And that second picture, when I saw the man with the child with the snake, was regarding to me as an image of Biden and how he sniffs kids. And when we've seen images of that and the portrayal of what that is, what that showed to me is a child having to be what do you call up front, you know, pretend this is great that I have a snake around my neck. Okay, but it's really not, because there's fear behind that. And so I took all of that as the image to me that it was given from those pictures was basically another confirmation of what's going on behind the scenes in that whole dark world. The good news is, oh boy, you can't believe who's cleaning it up and what's going on from people, sources that I know, which is awesome. The other perspective on the lighter side that I want to talk about when we watch that image, you know, when you played that program, that snippet, when Tesla, right? Tesla, you know, and what he does and, you know, all about him. So last week I just purchased, it's called Healy. And it's a new technology. Can you guys all see it?
Yeah.
Okay. And it's basically frequencies, and you just kind of attach it, put it on you. It changes your vibration. It's great for healing. It's great for all kinds of stuff. It's based on the Tesla coil. And it's does phenomenal work for people with, you want to do meditation or healing or whatever aspect. So my friend who's a neuroscientist is part of this product. So I thought, okay, there's a quinky dink. So the other piece is I actually went to the New Yorker hotel, and another friend of mine who was a psychic, we went in and we checked in to Tesla's hotel room. All right. Where he lived and where he died. And I had no idea about who he was about or what it was. We were in room 3327. And he was coming to us this whole time we were in that room and stuff like that. And I called my husband and I said, hey, I said, do you know who this Nikola Tesla guy is? And he's like, Kelly, I know Nikola Tesla. And he, I'm an engineer, of course, what he did. And he's Googling, right? And he says, hey, it says here that he lived in the New Yorker and he died in room 3327. And I said, we're staying in room 3327.
Oh my God.
So he was so active, all right, when we were in his room where he lived and died in the New Yorker. And we were actually, my friend couldn't sleep. And I'm like, it's 3 o'clock. He started his day at 3 o'clock. I am not getting up. Like, I'm so tired. And my friend was up and she was playing solitaire on her phone. And all of a sudden, someone else was playing solitaire on her phone. And I'm like, woke up the next morning and Nancy told me this. And I said, Nancy, of course, he invented the technology, okay, to make that all happen. He's, using your phone, the frequencies, right? So it's funny how all of a sudden I'm very connected to him, obviously. And he had shown up in a dream state to me before I even went to New York, appeared. And I was like, oh, he's so handsome. He's dark hair. He's got blue eyes. He's got his garb on, the whole thing. And all of it. And then I'm like, okay, then I end up in his room, okay, where he lived and died. All right. And just that synchronicity, right? So we all talked about that earlier, that sync that we're all having with old experiences, new experiences coming in. And then, I'm like, of course I'm going to buy something with the Tesla coil around it. You know what I mean? Like, of course I would, right? But again, I think we have a lot of, when you looked at the butterfly thing, you know what, that's all new vibration coming in, getting rid of the old so the new can come in. That's a lot of that. It's pretty pertaining to all of it. And even like 3 days ago, I had a hit actually that there was going to be an earthquake in California. And here we woke up to, right? So it's really important about, paying attention to that, obviously, but really kind of protecting your energy, because we're in this space where a lot of stuff the gook is getting out. So that's what I get a lot from my guides right now is protect, bubble up.
Interesting. Well, Tesla would never stay in a hotel room or live in a house that didn't equate to 3, 6, and 9.
Mhm.
And 3327, I just added it up. It's like 3 and 3 is 6, 2 and 7 is 9, equals 15, which equals 6.
Yep. Yeah. It was wild, to say the least, but anyhow.
There's so much you can learn, and I always like kind of blank out when it comes to math and things like that. Like, oh, I'm not smart enough to know all this, but we don't have to. We just have to know the frequencies and the feel of frequencies, and I had a dream a couple of nights ago that I was in math class. And I thought I had understood this technique so well. I'm always the one that anytime I get something I get excited about and I want to teach other people. So I was like in the dream, I was coming together with this whole teaching thing about how these numbers all worked. It was kind of like adding them up, just like I did now. But then when it came to grade the test with the teacher, my answers were all wrong. And I remember thinking, let me change this answer real quick because I don't want to flunk this test. I never tried to erase it and change it before the teacher could see me. But then there was a hole in the paper where I started to erase it. It was real obvious, but I don't know what that means. I got everything wrong. Maybe everything I've been thinking is wrong and I need to open up to a whole new way of thinking. That's what the dream, I think, is probably trying to tell me, but it was very frustrating.
Yeah, when you know you're right and you're being told wrong, right?
Yeah.
Truly.
Yeah, one way or another, right and wrong is completely screwed up in me right now, or something with what the truth is and what's happening. Who knows? We're going to find out really soon, though.
Mm,
Okay. Yeah.
dramatic.
So, yeah. Anyone else want to add anything before we look at the astrology chart? Okay, well, let's look at the astrology chart. So I'm going to share my screen again, and we're going to look at where the planets are, what the planets are trying to tell us for today now. All right, so here is the astrology chart for today. Let me take this down here, this up here so we can see the chart better. So I did it for today for 12 noon when we started the class. And we still have that Mars retrograde, and Mars retrograde is digging up stuff from the past still. But you know, it's not a bad thing. The reason why the past comes up is because we can learn so much from it. Hey, we can learn so much from Nikola Tesla if we can figure out what in the heck he was trying to tell us. And another thing, Kelly, I watched another video last night because, you know, one video leads to another, right? What I'm essentially doing is I'm trying to get information to talk about for our class, right? So I'm looking at all these videos and going, one will lead to another. So I was listening to one about Tesla, and they were talking about when he died in the New Yorker. So I thought that was so interesting that you were actually there. And they had these scientists and researchers that were trying to uncover what he's been trying to say. And here's the situation. He had something like 80 trunks of information, and there's only like 30 of them that have been recovered. And since he was an American, but because he was from Croatia or that part of the world, they actually said our government withheld them for many, many years and then sent them over to Croatia, where he was from. But there are so many trunks missing. And guess who had their hands on it all? Even before they found his dead body, they removed some of the trunks in his hotel room. The CIA or the FBI, our lovely American government that we know what they've been up to since Kennedy's assassination now. And yes, so they got their hands on all of his technology. What in the world they're doing with it, I don't know. But of course, you guys can go onto YouTube and watch a lot of videos about all of that. Tesla, his trunks, how they disappeared, and what in the world's going on with it all. But you know, he had the technology, like we know, for cell phones. He had the technology for everything that we're just starting to discover. But he also had technology for called the death ray, where he could shoot up at missiles and, you know, it would explode like, you know, some kind of war missile that was way beyond what we have today. But I guess our American government has all that now because so many of the trunks were missing. Anyway, the guy was a genius, and I guess he had no friends. Another thing that was kind of sad, Edison got all the claim to fame. He didn't get any, and he died penniless, while Edison, you know, stole the show, and you know, the reason why they didn't want some of his technology out, because they didn't know how they were going to charge people for it, for electricity, because it, you know, anybody could get it free, and they had to monitor it so they could make money off of it. Anyway, there's so much behind. We're just discovering. It's a fascinating story. So, you know, you can go into YouTube and learn more about him. He's just an amazing oh, and he said a lot of his information came from aliens. So go figure that, go look at all of that. He is just incredible. So here is the chart for today. What are we seeing besides Mars retrograde? So my point is, going through that whole dissertation, is that Mars is bringing back a lot of old things. So old knowledge, interest in Tesla and things like that. What can we learn from that? Or the ancients. The ancients say that the Egyptians moved the pyramids through sound, through song of some sort. So I don't understand what that essentially means, but you saw in the beginning of that one clip I played that they said the Egyptians talked about song. And you know what's so interesting about the Vedas were a hymn. That the Vedas, the ancient Vedas, they said they were a hymn, and therefore they said astrology was Jyotish is the eyes of the Vedas. So that was all referencing sound once again. So we have the power of sound in our own hands, in our own body. They say the human voice can go to any range vibrationally. And we've got to use this God-given gift that we all have to change our lives. But going to the astrology, I know a lot of planets are in Sagittarius. Now today we have the moon in Libra with K2. K2 is otherworldly, what's beyond this world. It's with the moon. And this is like pretty much going over the placements where the eclipses were before too. But the moon will soon change into Scorpio before the end of this day. The moon right at 12 noon was 27 degrees, almost 28 degrees. The moon moves 1 degree every 2.5 hours. So in about 5 or 6 hours, we're going to have the moon in Scorpio. And being the dark moon, as Tori said, it's behind the sun, going into the dark moon on the 21st. We can use this energy to really reflect, go within, deep, dark stuff. You know, when people are born under the dark moon, they're very, very introspective. They're not people that are extroverts or introverts. So because it's all that reflection and going into the dark places that we get our answers. It's like through our dreams when we sleep. It's like when we close our eyes in meditation, we get our answers. It's all, everything's all within. So use this time accordingly to go deep and understand what our purpose is here. That's what I believe Scorpio and 8th house energy is all about. And then we're going to have the new moon right after in 2.5 days. And it's on the 23rd that we have the new moon. It's going to be in the sign of Sagittarius. We're going to have Sun, Moon, Venus, and Mercury all in the sign of Sagittarius. And Sagittarius is about the truth because it's the 9th sign, which is relative to the 9th house, which is spirituality and truth and our beliefs and what we believe. And, you know, probably none of us have the truth being in these human form, but let's aspire to have as much of the truth as we can, which is being connected to our oneness. And Saturn's still in Capricorn until January 17th. We've got that Saturn that's, you know, in the last degrees of Capricorn, and that's digging up stuff and bringing out all the old stuff that needs to change. That's what I think Saturn's last trek through Capricorn before it enters into Aquarius. But we still have, you know, if you look up here, Uranus is so close to Rahu, which deals with big changes, shifts and changes. And yeah, we're going to have a lot of earthquakes. Uranus is sudden, unexpected events with Rahu. It's very tight. It's still retrograde, but it's stationing. It's about to turn direct. It's at its stationing degree. Whenever Uranus does station, either retrograde or direct, it does cause earthquakes. So it's a planet of earthquakes. So is Neptune, but it's going to be shaking everything up for a while. Let me see, is there anything else I'm missing in this that's very, very in aspects. Let me see. Jupiter's really not aspecting any planets. Saturn's aspecting Jupiter, wide orb. Let's see. Mars is aspecting. That was the thing I wanted to talk about. See, Mercury's going to go retrograde, and Mars is retrograde. When Mercury goes retrograde, it's going to back up to essentially, they're going to be in a 6-8 relationship. Mars and Venus are in a 6-8 relationship within 3-degree range right now. And that's very incongruent. It means things are not as they appear. Things are sort of out of balance, out of key. I think of the quincunx aspect, sort of that note on the piano that feels like you gotta hit that next note to bring it to completion because it's out of key. That's what the quincunx aspect's about. There's an 8 relationship from each other, and that's a difficult relationship. So with Mars being where it is, and even the new moon is going to be in the sign that's 6 and 8 from Taurus. So things are not, they're not completed or finished or balanced yet. There's something out of key, but it's going to come into key more so as these planets move into Capricorn and Aquarius, because Capricorn is going to be, the planets are going to be in a trinal aspect to Mars. But the fact that Mercury is going to go retrograde, it's going to go retrograde, I believe, around the 30th or the 31st of this month. So when Mercury does go retrograde, just remember, people change their minds about things because it rules the mind. And when Mercury changes a direction, either going retrograde or direct, people change their minds. They think differently. And with Mercury going backwards, it's going to dig up old stuff. It's going to be transiting backwards in the sign of Sagittarius, which deals with spirituality, the truth, the belief systems. So things are going to be dug up about things in the past, while Mars and Mercury are really slowing down, and they're in a quincunx aspect, and they're going to be in a quincunx aspect the whole time Mercury's retrograde. I think even the day it goes direct, Mercury's going to be somewhere around 14 degrees, and Mars is going to be around 14 degrees. They're going to be in exact quincunx. I can't remember exactly what day it is. I spoke about that in my talk that I did Saturday. Also, if you get my newsletter, I talk about this stationing of Mercury and Mars and how they're going to be exactly in that aspect and what they're all about. I spoke about that in my write-up for January's newsletter. I have to get that done now before the 15th, edited. I got to send it to somebody to edit. So I have to write that way ahead of time now because of the magazine and everything. But my point is, I used to wait to see what was happening in the world before I started writing. Now I don't have that aspect. So in other words, all my predictions are written way in advance before the time they come out to all of you guys. But that's what I want to say about what's going on from the astrology. Anybody see anything I missed?
I just wanted to mention there was a 6.4 earthquake today in California,
Really?
Humboldt County. So that was at 2:30 in the morning. I'm wondering where if the moon was close enough to be exact opposite on, conjunct there.
Yeah, Uranus.
Yeah.
Yeah. It would have been close enough, absolutely.
Yeah.
Because what, if the moon moves 1 degree every 2.5 hours, so that was how many hours ago? You said
10 hours ago, I guess.
10 hours ago. Okay, so that would be 5 degrees pretty much, just around.
Well, it was 2:00 in the morning, 2:30 in the morning.
Okay. Yeah, so yeah, I mean, it would have been close to being close to K2 and most importantly, Uranus. So yeah, I can see the transiting moon, I always say, is the trigger to events, right? So Good point. Thank you. You know,
So I have a question with the Mars retrograde, because we need Mars for energy to move us, forward. And with it being retrograde, it's not really there. So I was wondering if people other than me have been feeling really tired lately.
I have. It's like, I'll get up and I'll go, oh, I don't have any energy, but I need to go for a walk anyway. And I remember yesterday I went on a pretty long walk. I love walking when it's cold outside and sunny because it just feels like such clean air. But
Right.
I remember just feeling, like you said, I was like, God, I'm going to have to cut this walk a little shorter. I don't have the energy, but yeah. And normally the cold, clean air gives me energy. So
Right.
probably it's Mars. Y'all feeling that too? Okay.
Yeah, I don't have any energy in the morning. It's just like, oh my gosh. And to go work out, it's like, oh, forget it.
Yeah. Well, thank God for our coffee, right?
Yeah. Okay.
Anyone else want to add anything? Surely you guys have something to add with the what we were talking about today. I love what Kelly said about Tesla. That was so synchronistic that you just had that experience, and here I am looking at Tesla. But I think it's so interesting that sound is such a powerful force and can really, really change our, by just listening to the music we love and changing our energy. I will say this, I do walk a lot further, or when I jog, when I listen to music. Don't you guys? You got to have that music to keep us, that gives me energy. I will say
Yeah.
that.
I will say I was a certified meditation teacher with Deepak Chopra, and the meditation that we taught was based on a mantra. And it was the sounds that the earth was making at the time of your birth. And so that was supposed to take you, back to that time when you came from the unconscious into the conscious. And part of the mantra, we did use Om. Om was part of the mantra.
Okay. Yeah, and that's kind of like a little bit of rebirthing, sounds like.
Yeah, exactly.
And I don't know if y'all have ever been rebirthed or worked with that process. Seems like it's kind of lost its popularity, but I got to tell you, I had some amazingly mystical experiences in the rebirthing process. And probably you're like losing consciousness because of the breath. You're kind of losing your consciousness, but it is a very powerful technique. But really you can't do it for yourself. You got somebody to be there with you, or you really what you're kind of doing is hyperventilating.
Yeah.
If you've ever done it, but it is breath work is, it's all part in the same. And I found it kind of interesting that when I was listening to some of the mantras. Oh, and by the way, if you'll put in your earphones with your computer when you listen to those mantras, it vibrates heavier in your head. You can hear it a lot louder than if you just listen to your computer. Yeah, but either way, it's going to work. But I find that when you put your, your AirPods in or your earplugs in to your computer, that Om vibration really vibrates heavily in your head. And that's going to change your consciousness and vibrational frequency. So I really highly recommend that that's your homework, to find a Om vibration. Do it yourself too, but if you want to just be guided by, find one that resonates with you from YouTube. Put your earplugs in and feel that vibrate your third eye, opening it. And if you do this on a regular basis, I promise you're going to change your consciousness. Yeah. And that's what we all want to do, because when we vibrate from a low level of consciousness, we're never going to be happy or achieve what we want to help others and bring joy and purpose into our lives. But this is how we can do it. And we're starting right at the best time, right before the new year, when we feel like we can cleanse away the old and start the new. So let me get out of this. So
I wanted to add that every morning I do I listen to a sound, and they actually said that we had to do it with headphones because it's like the way that the sound goes like through your left and your right side. And so like if you wouldn't get the effects from the sound vibration that I listen to if you didn't have like AirPods or like headphones on.
great. I'm so glad you said that, because I was thinking I need to tell everybody that, and I almost forgot. So I'm glad that you confirmed it, because I really feel a difference when you do it that way. So, and that's interesting that you say from the left to the right or the right to the left. It fills your, your head with the sound vibration. Thank you. I wanted to read one more thing from the power that I pulled up, and it was mainly in terms of what we're talking about today. And it says, everything in the universe is magnetic, and everything has a magnetic frequency, including your thoughts and feelings. So essentially, what we're going to be doing is changing this. And remember that in the power, I don't know exactly where it says it, but it was talking also about our use of language and words that's so powerful for whatever we want to manifest. So it says, whatever you feel, whether good or bad, determines your frequency, and you attract the people, events, and circumstances that are on your same frequency. Change your frequency at any time by changing how you feel, and everything around you will change because you're on a new frequency. If something negative has happened in your life, you can change it. It's never too late, because you can always change the way you feel. Many people put their feelings on automatic pilot. Their feelings are reactions to what happens to them. However, they don't realize that it's their feelings that are the cause of what happens to them. To change anything, whether it's the circumstances of money, health, relationships, or any subject whatsoever, you have to change the way you feel. Blame, criticism, finding fault, and complaining are all forms of negativity, and all of them bring back nothing but strife. Throw out of your vocabulary words like, and I said this at the very beginning, terrible, horrible, disgusting, awful. Use more words like fantastic, amazing, fabulous, brilliant, and wonderful. Even if you just give 51% good thoughts and good feelings, you have tipped the scales of your life. Every day is an opportunity for a new life. Every day you stand at the tipping point of your life. And on any one day, you can change the future through the way you feel. So if you're struggling with that, doing the sound meditations, it's going to change your frequency. And as you change your frequency, like it said, you're going to attract a whole different crowd of people, because you're going to vibrate to their frequency and they vibrate to yours. They're on a higher level. We don't want to be with the low frequency crowd anymore. So all of you are my higher frequency. I know, because we all attracted each other for the same reason, to up our vibrational frequency. And we're going to continue to grow and expand with our frequency. And this is an amazing group. We're really blessed to have each other. That's what I want to say. And if anyone want to say anything else, otherwise we'll close for the day. Anyone have any additional thoughts?
I have one.
Good.
Okay, so I did the secret, and now I'm doing the greatest secret, or I did the power. Well, I've done all three now, but anyway, in the greatest secret, they talk about when you raise your energy vibration, then you'll no longer be affected by the negative energy that's around you. And so I've been working really hard on trying to do that. And I'm a Cancer ascendant, so I'm very, sensitive to energy and that kind of thing. And when I used to go shopping, I would come home and just be exhausted because I picked up everybody's energy. So I went shopping a couple of days ago, and it was amazing because I felt great when I was in the stores. I wasn't picking up people's energy. And then when I came home, I was fine. So there is truth to that, you know?
I love it. Good. And by the way, Michelle, I just noticed your shawl. How
Yes.
beautiful it is.
It is gorgeous. I love it.
Looks good on you.
Thank you.
So yeah, so what we put out, we get back. And so we're not going to be, when our frequency is higher, we're not going to be absorbing all those lower frequencies because we're not on that level anymore. I love that. Good. Anyone else want to add anything else to all of this? And I think we've got some good stuff for the holidays, though. Joan, you have something to say?
Yeah, I mean, talk about synchronicities. It's funny because like everything I find is just coming together so much. And especially with this group, it's fun to hear everybody talk. And I just had a very interesting October. I went to Egypt on a retreat. Well, it was like a retreat. It was 100 people basically, and we were all interested in quantum physics. And we were with a physicist who was Nassim Haramein, who is basically, I think, the reincarnation of either Einstein or Tesla, because he's just into all of that. And he brought us to Egypt basically to show us his new research.
Was it William Henry?
No, Nassim Haramein.
Okay.
And he's on Gaia, and he's all of it. He
Yeah.
Resonant science. Anyways, so he was talking about what was really going on in Egypt and how the pyramids got built, and because all the time they tell us, oh, it was slaves with ropes and all this other stuff. And his favorite line is, "I Sphinx not," which very fitting. So he was explaining how the vibration and the frequency, they would levitate basically these rocks with frequencies. And so we just kept going and seeing more and more proof of all this. And then right after that, I had the opportunity, because of the COVID quarantine got dropped as I was on my way to leaving to go to Egypt. So I got to go to Cancun on my way back. And I went to, I was luckily enough able to go to this another kind of retreat, but it was with sound frequency. And I don't know if people know Cryon. That's Lee Carroll. He channels Cryon. And Bill Bennett, I think he was talking about Lee Carroll in our other video. So I got to go there and listen to Lee talk and channel. And Dr. Todd, he's in charge of these frequencies. So he channeled all of these sounds that we were supposed to sing. So we went there for 3 days and sang in this choir. And basically it was to open up portals. And they'd been doing it since 2012 in all different cities, which were all these cities that were portals on the planet that were related to different chakras of the planet. There was Glastonbury, there was Uluru, Maui, Cancun was one of them. And so they were supposed to go and do it in 12-12-12 or 12-12-22. They were supposed to go, or no, 2020, 12-12, December 2020. But because of COVID, they couldn't do it. And then they couldn't do it the year after. And then they decided, okay, we're going to go back to Cancun because they were friendly to non-vaccinated people and they would allow people in. So we got to go there. But they said, oh, last time they did it in Maui, they had 400 people or 900 people. This time we only had 100, but it was like quality, not quantity. And we all sang and toned and did all these tonings that he had taught us. And it was really amazing. Like the sound, the vibrations, everything was just on another level. And they recorded it, and it was all for this purpose of opening these portals. So the final is going to be 12-12-2024 back in Maui. So I'm like, I'd love to go to that one too. But it was so funny how everything today, it just seemed like we brought in the Egyptian stories about song, and then, the vibrations. And I just had to share that little story because I just found I was so lucky this year, because I didn't get to travel since the beginning of 2020. And I got to do 2 trips back to back because of just the universe working out the way it was. And I was very grateful to be able to do that.
That's amazing. I cannot believe that everything you've been working with is exactly what I've been talking about today.
Exactly. So funny.
That is incredible. So, synchronicity and yeah, we have a really big key answer right now. Working with sound. We have to do this now. Joan confirmed it 100 times over. So sound is our answer. We're all going to work with it. And by the time the next meeting, I want to hear about all your experiences working with this vibrational sound and how it's opening up. I bet we're going to start coming up with a lot of visions with this tool, this new tool. Well, it's not new, it's an ancient tool that we're just remembering at this time in our development. So unless anybody else wants to say anything else.
Just like one quick or two quick things. One, I just signed up for the next semester for Vedic astrology, so I'm very excited. I finally made the leap on that, so yay. And then because we're talking about sound, I wasn't gonna say anything, but so I went and had a reading like in September, and somebody said like, oh well, your voice, like you can heal through your voice. I was like, no, I can't sing, like I'm terrible. Like people are like, don't quit your day job, but then she's like, no, like try whatever sound comes in your head to use it. So like I facilitate healing through crystals and Reiki. And so I started doing humming during my sessions, and it's amazing what people have told me, like they've seen white light or purple light, or like I put crystals on them and they're telling me it's like I activated the crystals with like DNA. And I'm not certified in sound yet. That's something like I'll get into probably later, but it's just something I'm like starting to dabble with. And when I do it, I'm like, I don't feel super comfortable, but then like I'm like, okay, so how was your session? They're like, oh my gosh, when you did this I felt healed. And I was like, oh, okay, I guess I just keep doing that. And so just like to kind of go along with what we've been talking about today in sound. So
Wow. Well, I'm so glad you said that, because I was thinking, and I forgot to tell everybody this too, when I was doing the Om by myself, it was when I hummed it that the vibration really activated this the most. So, when you close your mouth, when you're doing the Om, when you close your mouth and you're doing that humming, that's what really opens it. So I'm so glad you mentioned about that vibrational thing about the humming. I thought, what if you went around and hummed all day? Wouldn't I wonder if that would have an effect on us in some way. So it probably would, just like you said.
it might. Yeah, I know. It's like really because it's never like the same for, everybody in every session, every moment is different, but it's just like whatever I'm called to do. And I'm like, okay, I don't know. I'm just like, I just do like random humming. And then they're like, wow. And I was like, okay.
Well, they say the universe is sort of like that. Om sound is a humming, that it's a vibrational humming type sound. So, wow. Interesting. Thank you. Well, so we have the tools now, I think. Anyone else want to add to that before we close for the holidays?
Joni, I put some links in the chat. And throw in one more thing. I did the Joe Dispenza seminar, and he uses the music throughout the week, hits certain megahertz, and he starts off high and then ends up very low. And it takes you from alpha to beta to theta to gamma. And I was very amused by the use of sound to get me down into that level of meditation. Joan, I know you've been to 3 retreats. And then I put 2 links in the chat, Joan, of the guy you're talking about, Nassim Haramain. So I put his link up there. Guy works with crystals and sound. That was interesting. And then another guy I found is Matthias De Stefano, and he talks about, oh yeah, look at you. He talks about the use of vibrations to build the pyramids, and he remembers all of his past lives.
Yes.
And that's just a general interview that I put up for if you guys are interested in it. But it's so funny. This week is like I told you yesterday, Joni, when I had that reading, this gal's working with the vibration of the voice to heal. And now Tori's just talking about using her voice during Reiki, and the client was healed. It's very weird, the synchronicity that all this harmonic sound and vibration stuff is popping up for me this last 10 days. So there's more here. I don't know what it is because I'm a rookie, but it's certainly interesting that we are talking about this today.
Wow. It certainly is. And yes, and that the guy that you were talking about that remembered all his lives, I've watched a couple of his YouTubes. They were very good. Yeah. What's his name again?
Matthias De Stefano
Yeah.
on YouTube. I put the link in the chat.
Okay, wonderful. Well, Madeline is such a great resource. She helps us out by listing everything. And one more thing, I'm going to write that down. What did Kelly? What was that healing thing? Healy or something? What was
Oh, I
it?
put that link in the chat too, Joni.
Okay. All right. Good.
It's up at the top. It's the Healy device. So I put the website for the Healy device, HEALY.
Okay. All right.
It's at the top of the chat.
So when we go back and listen to this, can people look at all the chats when we go back?
I don't think so. Isn't that terrible? But you can Google Healy device. They'll hear me saying it, HEALY device.
No, I see all the stuff here. I think we can, when we go back, if we forget, you can click on the chats and you can go up and down, just like
I think if you share the chat in the video, it might get recorded.
Oh,
You know, if you're sharing the screen and then you click on chat, I think people
I
can
just
see
did
it.
that. I just did that. People can't see it right now.
No, because you're not sharing the screen right now.
Oh, let me share the screen. Here's what I'll do.
And then click on chat.
Oh, oops. Huh. Why does it go to, oh, I know. Not,
Do maybe exit full view up on view in the right hand corner and then see if your icons at the bottom come up for the chat since you're sharing.
full view. Where is that?
On the top right hand corner, there's a little tiny word that says view with the box. You're on a Mac. I hope it's the same on a Mac.
Okay, so what am I supposed to
See
click?
Right hand corner of your screen where you would minimize the screen. Underneath that, you would see the word view, small, very small, top right hand corner. And when you click on that box, it allows you to exit full screen. All the way up at the top right. Do you see it up there? You're on a Mac, so I'm not sure if Macs are dissimilar.
Okay, well, I'll minimize. This is what happens when I minimize. You see my my background.
Okay, now do you see the option to chat in? And do you see the option to chat in your?
See, maybe it's in more. Let me see. Stop.
You don't see the chat icon at the bottom where it says share screen, record, participants.
I think you have to go back to Zoom and come and have that up as a shared screen.
Yeah, I think so too. Oops, that's not it. Okay, so all I see is more apps from pause, share. Is it pause or share?
Take your mouse and go to the very bottom of your screen and see if something pops up for you, because I'm on a Mac and that's usually where the Zoom stuff is. At the very bottom of the screen, if you take your mouse all the way down, it should have participants, chat, share screen, record.
Okay, so what do I choose on that?
Chat.
She's talking about chat.
Okay, can y'all see that now?
No, put us back in Zoom. We just see your desktop.
I think you have to go into share screen and put it back on
But
Zoom.
I have the meeting chat. It's up on the screen. I don't know why y'all don't see what's on my screen.
I think you have to go to share screen again
Okay.
and put it on Zoom.
Okay, can you see that now? No?
No.
Huh, that is so weird. Because it says I'm sharing my screen and on the screen it has the chat. So let me see. Okay, chat. I'm gonna stop share.
Oh, there you go.
Okay, and then I'm gonna do chat. It's over here to the right. Y'all don't see it?
No.
You stopped sharing, so we wouldn't see it. But when you,
When I,
interesting.
when I do share, you still don't see it. Because I'm doing chat.
That's right. Yeah, we don't see it. Okay, well, we don't all learn something about chat.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm seeing it, but let me see, everyone. No.
I'm gonna make it to where
Oh,
I'm
well,
gonna copy and we can do a paste. We can maybe copy and paste this as an email.
okay.
So we're, we usually have a group email, then that way, if there's any kind of link, even though it might not work as a link, maybe the information would still be there.
Okay. All right. If you can do that, I apologize. I don't know why it's not working. Let me see what this ... Save chat. I'll save it. Maybe when we pull it back up, everyone and anyone directly. Huh. Let me see, what's this do?
If Madeline wants to do that, I know you've done the group emails before.
I don't know why it won't work, why y'all don't see what's on my screen, which is all the chats. Anyway. If y'all need any of this information, it's so great though that Madeline put it all up here. I'm so sorry. I don't know how to get it where everyone can see it. And let me shrink it. Says you cannot minimize.
Jill, you have the right idea, snapping pictures of your computer screen.
Yeah.
When we did the last group email, do you guys remember how we found that? Who sent that last time?
Those come from Joni.
The group email?
Yeah, she has the email list.
Actually, it's Shree that does it.
Okay.
I download it and then Shree sends it.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
Do you want me to send it to you, Joni? Then you can have Shree do it.
Yeah, because I just forward everything to her. She's the computer whiz, not me. So did you, were you able to get a snapshot of it all?
I am sending it to you right now.
Okay, and you have it all right.
Okay. Also, I just sent it to your Gmail, so we'll see if it comes through.
Okay, I'm sure. You mean not right now. I'll send it to y'all later, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. That way you can forward it to everybody since I don't.
Okay. All right, good. So thank you, everyone. This was amazing, beyond belief that the synchronicity with this is the way it is. And I think we're going back and rediscovering what we need to be doing and working with sound. So thank you, everyone, for everything. I don't know what I'd do without you guys. You're amazing. And this has turned out to be a very healing opportunity for all of us. So Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, whatever you're celebrating, celebrate with joy and happiness, and most of all, love. And I will see you next time. Thank you.
Thank you. Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
Christmas, everybody.
Thank you. Merry Christmas.